Let's get it. Hard throb never. I see what they did. I'm gonna need y'all to really listen to this one all the way through. This is important. First off, the civil rights movement was going on long before the 1950s. Long before the 1950s, the civil rights movement was already in play. But they had the Immigration Act of 1952, which was after the actual ongoingness, if that's a word, of the civil rights movement. But then they passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, years after the Immigration Act of 1952. Now let me explain to you why they did that. This is what they did. They saw that the American blacks were fighting for their rights coming out of slavery, late 1800s, 1900 through the 1950s. So they say, yo, we got to come up with a plan. And the plan that they came up with was to confuse and throw off the actual liberation of the American blacks. So they came up with the plan to allow other ethnically black groups to come to the United States via immigration and the Immigration Act of 1952. I know you're saying, well, what does this have to do? Like, what are you talking about? Well, peep this. Now, they didn't approve anything for civil rights until after they allowed phenotypically black immigration of other groups, as well as set up changing what the title of American blacks would be, meaning they changed the name of what to call American blacks. So before the approval of the Immigration Act of 1952 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, we were called Negro, which means black, or black, colored, American Negro, or American blacks, not African Americans. And that's what they changed our name to after the Immigration Act of 1952. We go from being called Negro, black, colored, American black, American Negro to African American. And that's not who we are. And let me explain to you why. African Americans didn't exist during the civil rights movement and slavery. We weren't known as African Americans. We were known as American black, black, Negro, colored, American Negro. That's it. So they only approved the Civil Rights Act in 1964 after they brought in Africans as immigrants and fooled us into believing that we were the same. They fooled us into thinking that we was all one black demographic, when clearly that's not the case. So what this means is that they gave new immigrants, Africans and everybody else, they gave these people civil rights. Not us, because we're American blacks, not African Americans. Do y'all see what they did? Even the old textbooks refer to us as American Negro or copper-colored peoples or black or American blacks. They gave our civil rights that our ancestors and our people fought for. They gave the rights that we fought for to African immigrants. So, is this why J. Edgar Hoover started COINTELPRO in 1956? Claiming that they needed to stop the rise of a black messiah that would electrify and unify the black people? Notice he didn't say electrify and unify the African American. He didn't say electrify and unify the African American because he know that that's not us. He said we need to stop the rise of a black Messiah, not an African American Messiah. We're American blacks. Now here's the other deal. There are all types of countries and ethnic groups in Africa. So when we say, or when we claim that we're African American, we're giving all of the peoples of Africa ownership and authority over us because we claim in their name and their autonomy. Basically, we place ourselves on a lower caste, a lower class, and a lower socioeconomic level when we say we're African American, because that's not who we are, and they know it. We're American blacks. See, this is why the Civil Rights Act gave us nothing exclusive. It gave civil rights to everybody but American blacks because we're not African American. Do y'all see this? We didn't get anything exclusive out of the Civil Rights Act. See, what happened was that our people coming out of slavery and during the civil rights movement and all of that, and Jim Crow and segregation, they had a stronger grasp of the law and what we were entitled to as American blacks and as citizens. So coming out of slavery and during slavery, they learned to read and write, and they also learned to untangle the law. They figured it out so that the courts and these states couldn't keep denying us our rights. They figured it out. This is what our people did in slavery and during civil rights. So what the powers that be did, they said, okay, we're gonna come up with a plan. We're gonna create the illusion of granting them civil rights after we bring in another group of people that look like them. But we'll only give the civil rights technically to the immigrant Africans, thus the African Americans, not the American blacks. Do y'all see this? But we thought they gave the rights to us too. And what this did was put us to sleep. Because of the fact that we thought we had won civil rights, it put us to sleep. And while we were asleep, they was undoing what our ancestors had untangled. While we were asleep, they was undoing the Constitution and finding ways to retangle the law so that it would take us longer to unravel the law so that we can be liberated. This is what they did. This is deep. So this explains the restaurant issue with Muhammad Ali when he ended up throwing his gold medals in a lake somewhere. This explains why they do the things that clearly violate our rights. This is why other groups get laws passed that are exclusive to them. Other ethnic groups get laws passed that are only for them. But we don't have any laws or legislation passed that is exclusive to us. And why is that? This is why our HBCUs are now full of immigrant and non-American black people, when the HBCUs were clearly set up for American blacks. They'll talk all day about African Americans getting in there because they know that that's not who we are. See, it all makes sense now. They gave our rights to other people, and we technically don't have the rights that we think we have. They didn't give American blacks rights. They gave civil rights to African Americans, which we are not. That's why they so shook about us separating ourselves from everybody else. See, this wasn't expected of the American black or the American Negro. We was never supposed to figure this out, but I see what they did. And it's crazy that I have a full understanding of what they did on this day, which is the day for the rally which is the rally for reparations that Tariq Nasheed and his guests got going on in D.C. right now as I'm doing this recording. Big Daddy Kane performing there. They got Vicky Dillard. They got RZA Islam, Afro Elite, Marcel Dixon, a host of other people that are there right now rallying for reparations. It's funny that me personally, I figured this out, seeing what they did. That we had to untangle the law. We were never supposed to figure this out. So I want to give a shout out to all those people that's at the rally for reparations in DC, representing us that couldn't be there with them, but we there in spirit. This is deep. This is angering. See, we always sat around like, man, why they don't want to give us what we asking for? Why they keep not wanting to give us what we supposed to get? Now it makes sense. And it makes sense why a lot of these ethnically and phenotypically black groups coming out of their mouths all sideways about us. Like, we can never understand why so many people are against us. But it's making all the sense in the world now. All the sense in the world that they flooded our communities in the 1950s, the late 1950s, with phenotypically black, other black ethnic groups, knowing that we wouldn't be able to tell the difference. We knew that something was off behavior-wise, but we just figured it was us and okay, they just a bad apple or whatever, or they just funny acting. We had no idea what they really did. And it's taken us up until now, 2024, to have a full understanding of the sabotage that they did on us. So make sure y'all listen to this. Listen to it again and again until it sinks into your head as to what's really going on. Make sure y'all share this with people that listen to this type of talk. 'Cause we can't keep playing games and wanting to be non-intellectual and want to be non-critical thinking. Oh, and I want to give another shout out to another brother that's at the Rally for Reparations. The brother that has the channel No Excuses ENT, No Excuses Entertainment. He got some great content on there, so make sure y'all check him out. That brother was there, went live, and showed that he's boots to the ground out there, so y'all get that brother some support. But I see what they did, and y'all need to see what they did too. I'm out. Heart throb never.